cryptocurrencies, it looks like cold, hard cash is pretty attractive these days.
Yeah, it feels a little ironic, of course, because a lot of crypto enthusiasts say it will one day replace cash. But for this fund anyway, this actively managed fund, it's basically saying these currencies have not been performing very well, basically been on a steady downward trend more or less since December. And so cash, cold, hard, fiat currency is the safest place to invest, even if you're managing a cryptocurrency fund. They're about 90% in cash, the remaining 10% in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's really interesting, given where it's coming from. But what are they watching to see when the price of cryptocurrencies will go up?
So the fund's manager, Martin Lalonde, said the most important metric he's looking at is the 30-day moving average of Bitcoin. So it's kind of a technical indicator. It's been crossing back and forth over the price of Bitcoin over the last little while. So he actually had about half of the fund's assets in both Bitcoin and Ethereum as of July 4th when that moving average crossed over. But then it crossed back over about a week later. He sold nearly all of those holdings and moved 90% back into cash. And he said that 30-day moving average is really an indication of where the long-term trend is heading. If it's heading up, he'll get an indication from that. If it's heading down, he'll get an indication from that. So that is the primary thing he's watching right now.
So that's some interesting analysis he's providing. But as your story points out, this is a fund that I believe launched 4 days before the peak of Bitcoin prices in December. Maybe a reminder of the enthusiasm we saw at the end of last year.
Yeah, not exactly auspicious timing. It launched on December 14th. Bitcoin prices hit their absolute peak on December 18th. 4 days later, that was just over $19,000. Since then, the price of Bitcoin has fallen by about 2/3, so not a great time to launch. The fund, though, started trading in March, and the goal has always been to outperform the price of Bitcoin. And so it has, in fact, been doing that. The fund's down about 10% from March to June. Bitcoin in that same time period is down over 30%. So the goal to outperform, it is still down overall, though.
Just quickly, how are they being affected by regulation?
Well, the regulatory environment is interesting right now because there's not a lot of what are known as custodians to hold these assets in trust for funds. And so because of that, they're limited to only holding 6 cryptocurrencies at that point in time. There are dozens, hundreds probably at this point out there. And he said when those regulations open up, when there's the ability to hold more, he would really like to have a wide range of what are known as altcoins, things like Dash and Neo, as well as the ability to invest in initial coin offerings, ICOs. They cannot currently do that, but he says down the road he thinks that'll be a great opportunity.